into a lane against Gragas and make it a complete skill-based matchup in that lane. Gragas really needs to time his barrels and body slams to take advantage of the time Playful Trickster is used by Fizz and the time he spends in the air, while Fizz has to do the exact opposite. He needs to use his Playful Trickster at a smart time to avoid damage coming up from Gragas to win that lane. Wins here on Elise. Hopefully he doesn't follow the route of Dinter. Although he was able to pick up the game against the single percentages, he missed 6 cocoons.
I lost count.
Hit 1, but it was somebody he didn't mean to hit with a cocoon, and then he missed another 2 in a row. 8 cocoons missed in a row, hitting 1 in between on a champion he didn't want to hit. So hopefully Wins has a better showing on Elise here today.
Yeah, and up in the top lane as well, Prides against Zonda. We start to see Zonda coming up slightly ahead in that one. And I think that's just the nature of the matchup when you have a Renekton going up against a Shen, because of the regeneration that you can get from Kaldemir. So Prides, he might be able to regen a little bit from those Vorpal Blades, but you definitely don't have the kind of firepower that Renekton brings to the table. And also comparing for the fact that once Zonda hits level 6, that dominance is going to make a hell load of difference when these two brawl it out.
So Westar very smartly freezing the lane here against Gragas in the mid lane. Pride, you can see how he's being pushed back into his tower. He's 7 minions behind, but there are 5 minions in his way, so he's not doing too bad himself.
Yep.
On Shen, and actually Ben W has stated how Shen, he should lose every matchup, but the only matchup that he will lose significantly is against Jax. That's the only matchup that Shen is going to lose incredibly hard against. Against a Renekton, against a Shyvana, he will be pushed back and shoved back into the lane, but he shouldn't die. He should be able to help out his team a little bit more in the early game and scale really well into the late game as well.
Yeah, and speaking about that, just to add on to what you just said, I feel like because of this Shen pick, it's almost like AHQ Esports Club is going to forego the early game, because if you look at all their laners, the likes of Ness, the likes of Fizz, they will take some time to skill up. They will take quite a long laning phase for them to get those items that they need. But just like you mentioned, Pride's now on that Shen, he might lose out to Zonda, and because of that, they might be primarily looking at those mid-game team fights, and that's where we might see HQ go with the gold button. But so far, just like how we somewhat predicted, Taipei Snipers really winning out on those lanes. Across the board, everyone is having those CS advantages.
So we can see Naz here on Kha'Zix invading. No, actually not really invading, putting a ward down deep into the jungle. Azubu Taipei Snipers. Mid lane, Westor. He's a little bit aggressive against Oreo. He has the right to do so, although he's about 6 minions behind now. Despite being ahead earlier, Wins now in a very aggressive position, but there is a ward in this tri-brush being placed down by Shen, so there is a possibility that Naz will group up to try and stop this dive and push coming from Zonda and Wins, which is exactly what he's going to do. He will walk over 3 wards. Oreo gets dived in the mid lane. First blood will go to Wester, who has to flash out this from the last tower shot, though. Will take him down. I still feel like he should have flashed towards the jungle area. Use this Playful Trickster to get out closer to the jungle and then flash over a wall to negate the second tower shot. He would have lived that fight, though. However, still able to get a kill. Diving in onto Gragas. Green Tea gonna take a little bit of harass coming from Awe and God JJ, but that doesn't matter. His Malphite support, he doesn't care when he takes damage. He'll just back off for 10 seconds, let his passive come back up, go back in for more harass.
Yeah, and with that, we now see Garnet Devil actually having the CS lead over God JJ, so Wins will choose to respond to that. And with those,
strange for a Caitlyn against a Silver lane, where normally the Caitlyn would be absolutely dominating that lane.
Yeah, I guess there's the fact that there's always that Malphite just throwing that suspect shot at you, so constantly slowing you, so you can't really move in and out as efficiently as you want to.
The rolling piece of ground.
Yeah, so you can kind of set up the boomerang blade quite effectively.
So far in the bottom lane, you can actually see how that minion score advantage has benefited Sivir significantly, has managed to pick up her BF sword compared to just the Vampir's character on the side of Caitlyn. So Caitlyn will be able to sustain well in this lane now, however won't have the burst damage that Sivir can bring to the table. Wins is still doing a little bit of happy feeding around this jungle, walking around, trying to find an opportunity to get a gank off or roam around to a lane to counter out a gank that would eventually come in from Kha'Zix. So they're going to settle for picking up the blue buff for Oreo in the mid lane.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is pretty crucial moment for Taipei Snipers. They really need to use the early game to their advantages before AHQ gets any form of big item advantages over themselves. Because if that's going to be the fact, then with AHQ Esports Club being such a veteran when it comes to team fighting, they will definitely stand the upper hand when it goes for those heavy dives. And when that happens, Taipei Snipers is going to be quite hard for them to respond. Even though, just like you mentioned, they do have quite a fair bit of disengage, especially from Oriel with the explosive cast. And from our way as well, even he can use the solar flare to disengage if he chooses to.
Wins now clearing out his red buff. He is level 7 on least, so has a little bit of power spike coming into this game, and has that aggressive spider jungler. Kha'Zix on the other hand, also hitting level 6, so has been able to evolve one of his abilities. Will be having a small power spike as well, but still Elise is the most dominant early to mid game jungler who does scale well into the late game as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a dive or a gank coming into this top lane from Wins. Nads is a little bit suspicious of this as well and has been roaming around this top lane for a little bit, does spot out Wins, puts the ping down, lets his allies know where he is. You see Westor is still being pushed into his tower by Oreo in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I almost feel like AHQ Esports Club are playing this quite brilliantly in the sense that they kind of understand Wins is going to be the early game playmaker for TPS. And if you look at the map movement for Wins, so far when he's on that Elise, he hasn't really been finding those ganks that he would like to have.
Green Tea's level 6, he's getting close to the top. He gets the unstoppable force with the flash. Boomerang Blade will miss, so the fish will knock up Oreo once he flashes over the wall. But that was a very clutch flash coming out from Oreo there. Managed to flash over the thick part of the wall to get to safety after the unstoppable force and the fish combo coming out.
It's a very close moment, and
good roam build coming out from the bottom lane of AHQ Esports Club.
Yeah, they're going to take the flash away from Oriel, and I think that's going to be a big factor in the next engage, especially in the mid lane when Westar goes 1v1 again with Oriel.
So this looks a little bit more like that Leona Caitlyn lane up against a Sivir marksman here, whereby Caitlyn is able to abuse her range advantage ahead of Sivir early on in the game and get a lot of poke down. However, Zonda has taken a lot of damage up in this top lane against Pride's on Shen. Two of the most respected top laners in the Greener Premier League battling out against each other. Wins is starting on Dragon here. He is the king of Smite, so it's going to be quite hard for AHQ Esports Club to contend for this Dragon, especially when nobody on their team is in the position to do so. Boomerang Blade comes out, but Wins is ready for that. Smites the Dragon away once it's at the appropriate health.
Yeah, I think there was some pretty good movements from Taipei Snipers. They have that they have that ward down in AHQ Esports Club's jungle, so
Zonda taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, so they were able to spot out Nest movements, and because of that, they capitalized on that, take out the Dragon for themselves, and build a small gold lead. And just like you mentioned, Zonda kind of being bullied out in the top lane. I think it's the constant chucking of the Vorpal Blades that's bringing him down so low.
Something really efficient about Shen in the top lane. Something that used to be abused a lot, especially when Gangplank was a really popular top laner, whereby you need to pick a top laner with a ranged farm mechanic, such as the Vorpal Blade or the Parlay coming from Gangplank. And now that that's died off a little bit, and Shen has been nerfed slightly since he was last incredibly popular up in the top lane, and also top lane tanks with a high amount of damage and mobility, such as Renekton, Trundle, Shyvana, have been much more common, even Gragas than Shen in the top lane, just because they provide a ton more damage than they do crowd control. However, Shen is always a good pickup for the top lane. As we were mentioning earlier, he doesn't really lose to any matchup except for Jack's matchup, which he will significantly get dominated by. However, he always has the potential to use his Stand United, give one of his teammates a huge shield, and potentially turn a 4-on-4 to a 5-on-4 situation.
Yep, but Zonda now is making full use, and he knows of the fact that he needs to keep Pride pressured as much as he can. That's why he's shoving up the top lane as hard as he can, just so that he can get the turret low.
Another thing about Shen in the top lane is 90% of his damage is going to be magical damage, especially when he picks up a Sunfire Cape. So, simply building a Negatron Cloak, like we see Zonda has, is going to significantly reduce the amount of damage that Prize can deal to him, and that's going to keep him really healthy and alive in lane for a significant amount of time. However, going up against a different top lane like a Gragas or a Shyvana, you're going to be dealing a mix of physical and magic damage, which is really hard to itemize against.
Yep, and I'm looking down at the bottom lane. Gardevoir has now finished up the Bloodthirsters.
Or Rome, though, this is going to be a bit scary for Renekton, especially with Kaz exposed nearby. Zonda, this was out though. Wester's going to jump in, props that fish. Zonda flashes over it though. Good use of the flash to get away from that one, but that's going to keep the top tower alive for a little bit longer. And with Dragon down, Winds can't do anything to retaliate to the double roam up in this top lane.
Lots of pings going down now. I thought for a moment Taipei snipers wanted to pressure the mid lane, but instead they will choose to secure their own blue buff instead. Not a bad choice overall, you know, you still want to get Aurel going. He's not going to be as efficient now. He does have that one kill under his belt, but he's not as dominant as he would like to be. And I think he was thinking about going down to the bottom lane, but he might get caught out here.
Westor wanted to stop Aurel from stopping Kha'Zix taking his red buff here. Naz, he hasn't made much impact in the game yet. Neither has Winds really, but Winds has managed to secure a dragon for his team, and it's 10 minions, or was 10 minions ahead of Kha'Zix early on. Now, once he picks up this red buff, he will be back up 10 minions ahead of Kha'Zix. We see this on Meteos a lot in the LCS, whereby he's able to outfarm his jungle as long as Aurel just doesn't like Westor's face right now.
Just wants to troll down the explosive cards, just to show that
don't like you.
Yeah, that
go away,
intimidation, and
get away from me.
I don't think that's how Gragas will talk about that.
I thought he would speak like that.
Well, it happens though. I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean where they have this really huge ruffy guy, but the moment he opens his mouth, he kind of sounds like that. Do you think this is going to be Gragas?
Could potentially be, as you do see Winds rotate to the mid lane with Aurel. It did look like they wanted to get a bit of damage down onto this turret, not able to do so though.
Yeah, and meanwhile, up in the top lane, Zonda has finally shoved up and pushed down the first turret, so breaking that silence in terms of objective count, in terms of turrets as well. So 1-0 in terms of TPS. That's a standard TPS play, I would say.
Winds already one up on Dinter with amount of cocoons hit in this game.
1-0 for Winds.
1-0 for Winds so far, and right now we're going to see Naz. He gets his Wraith stolen by Gragas there. Good gasket coming out.
Vision provided by the board, so
it's been a really slow game, and it's to be expected between AHQ Esports Club and Azubu Taipei Snipers, just because these are two of the most high-class teams in the Arena Premier League. They are two of the best teams, and when you have two of the best teams playing against each other in a match like this, whereby TPS need to win in order to tie for first place, HQ need to win this game in order to move ahead into high up in first place, and they're gonna not make too many mistakes. But right now, Zonda's going aggressive onto Prize. Ignite is being put down, but he just slices and dices right out there as Naz jumps in, uses his ultimate to get a little bit of movement speed and mobility. Zonda's getting taken down really low. The dive is coming from Naz. Ignite has been popped onto Kha'Zix as well, coming in from Zonda, but he will be able to recall the base. Top tower for Shen has gone down though, so it's gonna be a bit hard for Renekton to apply any more pressure, especially if he loses this top lane, because all Pride has to do is stay in the top lane, keep pushing as far as he can, and then use his stand united once any of the other members on the map are in any bit of danger at all.
Yep, so we start to see Ness try to make the first aggressive move, real aggressive move really against Zonda, but there's just so much health up his end, it's going to be quite difficult to take him down. And Taipei Snipers now looking to take down another dragon for themselves. I think that wins.
Whoa, actually miss. Good command by Wins there to block the unstoppable force using the repel coming in from the spider there. Prize used the standing united onto Green Tea to try and get the taunt off afterwards. Was not able to lock anyone down. Wins to flash over the wall. So will Prize chasing the spider down as much as he can. He's going to get bit and chomped and sniped on by God JJ. Nice cocoon coming out from Wins as well to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Really prolonged fight coming out from AHQ Esports Club, but Wins could potentially lift this one. Actually, I don't think it's going to be possible at all, as Westor's going to jump over. Repel comes over to him. He's going to take him down in this situation. Good Peacemaker. One auto attack comes with God JJ. The taunt will not be able to connect with God JJ. Fantastic mechanics coming out from both Wins and God JJ in that situation, to not only stop the unstoppable force, but also pick up the kill there onto Westor, who dived a bit too heavy onto the turret. HQ Esports Club will be able to stop this dragon attempt coming in from Azubu Taipei Snipers, so.
Or will they? Because it does look like Taipei Snipers, they might want to try to contest for that, but it does feel like they kind of want to respect the gameplay from HQ Esports Club. They will choose to back off, and I have to say though, HQ Esports Club, that was a pretty good response on their own end, with Green Tea jumping to the fray and with the stand united as well, but Green Tea in response just repelling out of the way. And because of that entire movement, now HQ Esports Club is going to tie up with Taipei Snipers dead even in terms of gold count.
The timing from Wins was perfect there, but also I feel like Green Tea really whiffed his unstoppable force there, because there were two other members next to Wins that he could have potentially knocked up as well, but was unable to do so. Now Prize is trying to go aggressive onto this dragon, help his allies get the steal out. Will he be able to? Naz jumps in. The red team does manage to pick up the dragon, but they do take down Fizz instantly. Fizz also gets Fizz gets a kill onto Wins. Kazi gets taken out instantly by Gragas there. Fights a 4-on-4 situation now. Green Tea is actually no, Garnet Devil getting taken out. Incredibly nice gas coming up from Gragas to pick up the snipe kill. Westor is really low and can't contribute to this fight. Zonda is still at full health. No dominance available though. Gonna slice and dice onto Westor. Awe wanted to jump back in with his Zenith Blade, was not able to do so though. And they will trade 2 for 2. But still, Azubu Taipei Snipers pick up that dragon, so a good fight for them overall.
Yeah, I always feel like HQ Esports Club, it was a bit sloppy from them. They wanted to go into contest for the dragon. Ness jumped into the fray. You know, they picked up the kill onto Wins and got JJ at the same time, but they were just caught out in the position where they can't group up to respond to the team fight. And of course, you have to give credits to O'Reilly with the explosive cars to separate everyone. But overall, Taipei Snipers, they are coming out ahead. They will grab this small 1,000 goal lead. And if O'Reilly manages to push down this bomb turret, they will expand the goal lead even further. But Green Tea is just right around the corner to respond to him.
So still, it's been an incredibly even game between the Azubu Taipei Snipers and AHQ Esports Club.
The stakes are high.
Each team is really taking their time to make sure the play that they're about to make is the right one. And there's been almost no mistakes coming out from either team, except for that unstoppable force whiff there, I feel, from Green Tea, which may be a repeat of his crazy amount of unstoppable force whiffs he's had against Azubu Taipei Snipers in the past. But still, Each team is really just trying to outplay the other, and we've seen Wins use his repel really nice. He used the cocoons nicely to outplay the AHQ Esports Club, and at the same time, Stand United used onto Green Tea. Good split pushing coming out from AHQ Esports Clubs, keeping Shen in the top lane with that Stand United as well to try and maintain some sort of lead. The only tower that's gone down so far is the top tower for Taipei Snipers, which is to be expected with a Renekton going up against a Shen in the top lane.
Yeah, but Taipei Snipers now will grab that more valuable dragon, and because of that they are ahead in terms of goal count. And speaking about these two teams, they have a lot of history with each other. They know each other inside out. They're no strangers to each other. And because of that, they're playing very cautiously. They don't want to make big mistakes because they know if any of those are present in the game, the other team is sure to capitalize. And let's hope we don't we don't see what happened in one of the ending matches of the LNL when these two teams went up against each other, because both teams knew that the fact that the stakes were so high, they were playing overly cautious, and that game ended out after 70 minutes.
AHQ are one of the kings of these long games. In fact, before that match against Azubu Taipei Snipers, the only game they ever dropped in the LNL was their game against Hong Kong Attitude, which was 90 minutes long.
My God.
Before that, they were 18-0. No, sorry, they were less than that because that game happened before. But after that, they were 18-1. Before the Snipers went into the grand finals against the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And Azubu Taipei Snipers, I believe, are only 4th in that table. So do see a solo flip to Green Tea. Pops the spell shield a bit too early, though. Is not able to get much out of that. But there goes this double force into the Stand United, onto Wins. Can't repel out of this one this time. Here comes Prize into the fray. Will West jump? No, Will Wins jump in. He gets taunted up. GPL is taunted as well. Granted, we're going to turn around the fight. Underhunt has been popped. We see the shutdown onto Grass coming from Fizz. Zonda in a lot of trouble now. HQ Esports Club putting the hurt down on the Crocodile. He will get taken down by Prize. Great kill for the Azubu Taipei Sniper. That's a 3-for-0 exchange. I mean, HQ Esports Club there picking up 3 kills for nothing. They will be able to go for objectives. It looks like they want a Baron pick up here, and it was actually Westor at the bottom lane going in a one-on-one situation against O'Real there, picking up the kill. HQ Esports Club are going to go for this Baron here, sorry. You can already see Fizz rotating down from the bottom lane, moving up as high as he can to get close to this Baron in case a fight breaks out with Awe and GPL. They have the range to do a lot of damage. Green Tea taking a lot of harass coming from GPL. He's out of mana though. No 90 caliber in that, no ace in the hole available for him. They want to take this Baron down as fast as they can. Awe gonna be in a lot of trouble. They do get the smite to actually Fizz gets the kill to Baron, so really close coming up from Azubu Taipei Snipers to put a lot of pressure onto the jungler of AHQ Esports Club, and it was actually Fizz that picked up the kill onto Baron there.
I felt like that was a high risk, high reward shot calling from AHQ Esports Club to go for the Baron, because I was almost certain that they want to take down the first tier mid turret, but I think they recognized for the fact that because Wester was able to take out a solo kill down the bottom lane, and that there was only God, JJ, and Awe to defend, to try to contest for the Baron, and with 4 members up on their own end, they're confident enough to take out the Baron. So eventually that just cashed in for them. They are now 2,000 ahead in terms of goal count, and they have that extra Baron buff now. So even though they don't have any turrets up in their names, they'll still be able to capitalize because of these extra stats that the Baron buff provided. And I have to say, Taipei Snipers, they really overcommitted in the mid lane, because they used that solar flare, tried to scare HQ Esports Club off, but because of that, HQ Esports Club knew that the solar flare was down. They just turned things around with the on the hunt, and that was eventually what caused the 3-for-0 exchange.
And you saw there, Gun Devil didn't even spell shield. Solar flare coming out from Leon, and that's a big change for Azubu Taipei Snipers. Mistake not playing anymore, being subbed in by Awe, who is the new support for the Azubu Taipei Snipers, and Mistake was the main shot caller for the Snipers while he was on the team. although he was argued to be one of the weakest mechanically skilled players in the Green Premier League, he was a really good shot caller. And now that he's not there, and you have Awe playing the initiation champion for Azubu Taipei Snipers, you can really see the decision making is incredibly different now. And with that mistake coming in from Azubu Taipei Snipers, they've lost a Baron. Baron Buff is now an HQ Esports Club. They lost 4 kills in that fight. No, 3 kills, sorry, in that fight. And they picked up the next dragon as well. So Azubu HQ Esports Club are going to be 3,000 gold ahead of Azubu Taipei Snipers. His Pride's now, he's not even afraid to duel Zonda up in the top lane anymore. He's actually coming out on top in these trades.
Yeah, that's primarily because of the fact he has more tanky stats up his side, and Westorp will take down the first turret in favor of HQ Esports Club. But that's still a 4,000 goal lead for HQ Esports Club, and that's going to be quite dangerous for Taipei Snipers to deal with. And for Taipei Snipers, you know, they took away those early objectives, but they did not translate that into anything else, because if you look at the map control, it's not exactly there as well. They couldn't capitalize on that. They overcommitted to the mid lane engage, and I felt like that was a key turning point. And because of that, HQ Esports Club, they took all the soft objectives away, because dragons are going to respawn, barons are going to respawn, but once the turrets are gone, they're gone. So they now can turn to the hard objectives to get more gold for themselves.
Wins is coming for this blue buff. Will he be able to get the smite off this? Actually, no, goes for the stun to Naz. Naz taking out solo. Instead play will be enough. Here comes the Stand United, though. Jumps back into the fray. Will the taunt come out? No, it will not. It actually gets cancelled up in the top lane by Renekton, but Westor will go on a rampage. Now, Awe is the focus for HQ Esports Club. Wins has been sold out. Westor is going to jump all over the spider. One more place will Trickster. Will actually squash this bug. Doesn't even need it. Just pokes the trident into the bug space.
Bug splat.
Bug splat right into the face of Azubu Taipei Snipers. That's not the fight Wins needed to go for there. They thought they had enough damage to take down Naz. The Standing United shield was more than enough. And I was about to say, as we see Greentor flashes in for this one. God, JJ gets slowed down, but will it be enough for the kill? Westor does so much damage coming up from Fizz. That is unbelievable. I don't believe what I am seeing here. HQ Esports Club just obliterated Azubu Taipei Snipers. It looked almost easy for them in that situation.
That was a terrible position for Taipei Snipers. Now, it feels like because of that one mistake that they committed in the mid lane area, everything just went haywire, and this gigantic snowball that HQ Esports Club has built up for themselves, it's going to be quite difficult for Taipei Snipers to deal with. And they are now up 8,000 in terms of gold count, and they have taken out 3 turrets for themselves as well. So it was just one swing of events that just took HQ Esports Club to this huge favor, and because of that, they should be able to continue to snowball this ahead unless they make a huge mistake.
What I think we're going to start to see, instead of Green Tea initiating with his unstoppable force and the Standing United onto him, because Green Tea's building a ton of ability power and a lot of tanky items, his burst is one time only. He's going to go in for that one-time burst and crowd control. If he dies, it doesn't matter, but he's going to be so tanky, he's going to be able to soak up a lot of damage. I feel like unstoppable force now is going to be used onto either Westor or Naz to keep them alive for longer, and so that when they penetrate into the back lines, being the assassins for HQ Esports Club, Shen can follow with them, taunt up as many people as he can, soak up the damage, and also lock down members of Azubu Taipei Snipers for these assassins to gain control of the back line of Azubu Taipei Snipers. And also, Westor is 8-2-2. He has his Lich Bane, needlessly large rods, Sorcerer's Boots, and also the Zhonya's Hourglass. He's going to be an unstoppable force himself against Azubu Taipei Snipers.
Yeah, so if what happens subsequently goes as what you say, I think that Westor could easily get 3 spell rotations in. And if that happens, that's going to be 3 dead members on the side of Taipei Snipers. So meanwhile, HQ Esports Club, they will take down the mid lane turret, the first tier mid lane turret in fact. And that would bring them up 4-2 in terms of turret count. Still 8,000 ahead.
You can already see how One Q coming in from Westor, one playful trickster, took down any squishy member of Azubu Taipei snipers to about a quarter health, including the Lich Bane proc from the auto attack afterwards. And that just means two abilities coming in from Westor. Doesn't even have to be damaging abilities, just needs to get the Lich Bane procs. You see Zonda takes a lot of damage.
I wonder
Up in
from
this
what
top lane
I
from
think it was-
Westor, who was rotating up to the top lane. Green Tea looks like he wants to be the bloodthirsty support, not able to get anything out of it. Pride's now running for his life as we see HQ, not HQ, sorry, TPS looking to try and create a pick. They need to get a pick off onto somebody on HQ Esports Club. They need to make it a 4 and 5 star all the way from the beginning before a team fight even takes place to mitigate this gold advantage that HQ Esports has at the moment.
Look at the amount of resistance that Pride has picked up for himself. He has 2 Negatron cloaks just because he can. Just because he
2
can.
Negatron cloaks isn't a really bad strategy at all. In Season 1 actually it was one of the favorites for tanky champions to pick up when there was 2 tanks in the bottom lane or 2 bruisers in the bottom lane, just because it is very, very cost efficient for the amount of stats that 2 Negatron cloaks provide.
And he has that Mercury threats as well, so lots of ammo are gonna come down his way. And I think it's just a response to Oriel because he is gonna be the most potent member of his end. I think Nance is trying to find the assassination, but it's gonna be spotted out in the Baron Pit with the ward that Taipei Snipers was able to put down before that.
Renekton might be in a lot of trouble here. Here comes the fish, dodged up by the slice. Zonda now locks down Naz for a bit. Ignite is being pumped onto Zonda himself. Naz in a lot of trouble now. They're actually going to turn this one out. Solo Flare will whiff absolutely everybody coming from our way here. That's not what you want when you're meant to bring in a support who's meant to be mechanically stronger than your previous. But misses solo flares like that in that kind of situation. This is going to allow Pride to split push this bottom lane.
He's gonna be happy.
They're going to have to force somebody to head back to bottom lane to defend this tower push. Although Pride is not going to be able to do too much damage to this tower, being the tank-like champion he is, he'll still be able to whittle it down slowly and draw away some pressure from Azubu Taipei snipers.
Yep, and I like the overall movements from AHQ Esports Club. First, getting Pride to split push down, apply that pressure down in the bottom lane, and shoving up the mid lane as well. Now they have all the space that they need to take away the dragon. So that's one more objective down for AHQ Esports Club. They will cascade the goal lead. 10,000 for them, and honestly speaking, I thought Taipei Snipers, they were the ones who will bring the biggest contest against HQ Esports Club, but honestly I think with the chain of events they kind of look lost here.
They certainly do look like they're lost at the moment, and God JJ trying to farm it out in this mid lane. He's really behind in terms of items. Doesn't even have his last whisper yet. Without the last whisper, he's not going to be able to do damage to Shen, and if Shen gets all up in his face, he needs to take him down low so that he backs off, and then God JJ can focus on other targets. But without the last whisper, it's going to be impossible to do so.
So it does look like HQ Esports Club might want to try to create a diversion here. Might want to start things off with Baron, but we have to take notice at the map. Pride is still shoving up that bottom lane quite heavily, so creating that split push pressure that all champ players like to be, and Taipei Snipers might be forced to take a decision soon.
HQ Esports Club, I won't be surprised if they go for a forced initiation really soon, especially with Stand United back up on Pride. Stumble Force is ready, and we've seen how much damage Westor can produce in a fight. It's almost impossible for the Azubu Taipei Snipers here. Naz gets caught out. He's going to get taken out incredibly fast. That's the pick HQ Esports Club needed. Now Green Team's on the trouble. Has to Unstoppable Force right out of there. That is the pick they wanted. Now they're going on to Fizz, who gets the standing 90. He might actually go back in on this one. As Ace and Hall is pop. Pride's going to step straight onto his trap. Wins throws at the coup. Will miss. Oh, flash talk coming out for Pride's there. Wins in a lot of trouble. He is in the Spider 4. Are they going to continue chasing him? No, Awe will get the stun down onto Pride's. This is still a 4-4 situation because Brenington is split pushing this bottom lane. Zonda doing the best he can to try and even out the goalie, but that is the pick. Azubu Taipei Snipers need to keep making happen until they're about 5,000 gold away from the gold gap that AHQ Esports Club have created. Because until then, they can't afford to go for an even team fight.
Yeah, and because of that, Taipei Snipers will be able to take down this bottom tier turret, and it's gonna be one important factor to bring them back into the game. And I felt like Ned's kind of being a little bit overconfident there. There was what in the side of Taipei Snipers. They played some defensive maneuvers there, got the pick that they needed, and that resulted in the turret count. So AHQ Esports Club, they kind of need to rethink the strategy. They need to remember that they are ahead, but they cannot let the guard down against the likes of Taipei Snipers because they are kind of their arch enemy so far in the Taiwanese region.
AHQ Esports Club look like they want to continue their winning streak and stay ahead of everybody in the Green and Premier League table. They are 5 games for 0 right now. This will be their 6-0 if they continue the momentum they currently have and take this game from Azubu Taipei Snipers.
That's right, but Taipei Snipers here, they still have the necessary tools to respond to AHQ Esports Club. They are down by goal, but do remember, these two teams, they know each other very well. And if AHQ Esports Club makes another mistake like what they did earlier, Taipei Snipers are sure to capitalize, and we might see a long extended game here, just like you mentioned. It might happen.
See how Azubu Taipei Snipers are going to defend these turrets. They have decent wave clear coming into this game, able to shove minions off of the turret, especially with the Peacemakers and the Gragas Barrels coming in for Azubu Taipei Snipers. However, HQ Esports Club do have fantastic initiation against Azubu Taipei Snipers. They really have to play smart and create a pick like they did early on.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
quite hard to find that though. HQ Esports Club are a team that really try not to make mistakes. They're really good at doing that.
Yeah, and interesting point that you just said about earlier. There is a lot of wave clear for Taipei Snipers, and I think it was in last night's matchup when we saw NFL go up against MLE. That was the crucial factor when it cascaded into the late game, because when you have a team composition that have some sort of wave clear, you will be able to hold out the game. You will be able to play those defensive duties very well, and that's going to be a hell of a difference when your opponents try to siege up the turrets. But we still have to remember, HQ Esports Club, they still have that gigantic goal lead for Taipei Snipers to try to overcome. So let's see how this plays out for them. But I would have to say, Taipei Snipers really keeping AHQ Esports Club on their toes, because they cannot afford to make any more mistakes.
Carlo was happily farming up this minion wave in the mid lane. He has his Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, and Last Whisper. Essentially, the biggest damaging items an AD carry can pack. He has his last inventory spot open, but he'll most likely go for a defensive item after this. He already packs a punch and will contribute to team fight significantly.
And he has 50 CS ahead of God JJ as well. If you look at the items, he is 1 Phantom Dancers ahead of God JJ. And with the extra movement speed, as well from, those extra movement speed from on the hunt as well, that's going to make a hell lot of difference to try to force the fight against Taipei Snipers. And That's the important thing as well. You know, you have all this extra movement speed. You will be able to move in and out of the fray, and as long as you are aware of the surroundings, you should be able to kite around the lineup of Taipei snipers.
Baron is up. I won't be surprised if HQ Esports Club try to force the Taipei snipers to come close to this Baron pit so they can get an initiation off onto their team. HQ Esports Club will be more than happy to fight around the Baron pit. It is an enclosed area, and also right outside the Baron pit is a large open space for these two assassins to work their magic. They're gonna jump in. Oh, Prize will miss the taunt onto Awe. That would have certainly been another death and another pick coming in for HQ East Coast Club, and a death onto Azubu Taipei snipers.
So Taipei snipers here trying to shove up the mid lane, get
They need
as
to be
much
careful.
pressure. Yeah.
Moving up this far. Prize is actually coming around from the back. He will be spotted by the ward coming out here. Might go for initiation. Will the fish come out from West Door? If it does, that will be the fight started from HQ Esports Club. They decide not to fight in that situation though.
Yeah, and something I think we failed to mention is that Awe at least has that talisman of ascension. He can counteract out that on the hunt movement from Garnet Devil.
Only for a short amount of time though. On the hunt will be going for a long amount of time. Zonda jumps over the wall once to get a stun off onto Garnet Devil.
Yeah,
Wasn't able to do so though.
and look out here, we might see Awe actually getting
That's gonna
caught out.
jump in here. This is Stand United. That's what we were talking about earlier. We'll go on to the bugs. We can get a lot of damage down. It's incredibly tanky. Solarflare will miss once again. Zonda in the middle of the team of HQ Esports Club, getting a lot of damage down to Gun Devil. Oh, Real will use the casket to knock him back, but will not be able to pick up the kill. Zonda getting taken out. Green team for MVP right now, getting a nice knock onto the three members and picking up the kill for himself. Westor's coming our way. You are gone right now as Naz and Westor work their assassination magic to take him down. Oh, Real is trying to run away with his body sense to get out of this sticky situation. Westor goes legendary in the meantime, picking up a kill onto the spider. This is going to be a cat and mouse chase that Prize simply does not want to go for. Instead, HQ gonna run straight for this Baron buff, and that's a 4-for-0 trade in favor of HQ Esports Club. That's what we were talking about. The Stand United onto the bug, jumping in for the initiation.
I feel like the key factor that really went wrong for Taipei snipers was that really awkward solar flare that didn't hit anyone at all. I felt like he really wanted to protect wins, but he still has that repel to get out of the way, and because that was one key ultimate that was blown from Taipei snipers that wasn't used to much efficiency, and because of that, HQ Esports Club, they pulled off the flank as well. We saw Westlaw going for those cleanup duties, picking up God JJ first, and then subsequently moving in for the damage.
I do like what Naz did in that situation, whereby is Shen really gonna recall on a pink ward? I have a feeling Shen is gonna head back to base, and not he doesn't take out the pink ward, which he was standing right on top of in the bottom lane. But
He doesn't care.
Naz, he made a really nice mechanical play there. When he was jumping into the team with the Stand United on his head, he used the first proc of his stealth and boost of movement speed to run closer to the opposition, and he used the second one to back off. And what happened there was I always thought after the first proc how he was moving forward to get more damage off. He will definitely do the same with the second. Instead he backs off and the solar flare whiffs, and then they re-engage after the solar flare completely whiffs members of HQ Esports Club.
Yeah, go pick up there because for HQ Esports Club, they really... I think that this is the synergy that we're talking about, and that's why they were so confident to go to this champagne, and so far it's working pretty well for them.
Look at Green Tea's items. He's 2-0-7. Sorcerer's Boots, Haunting Guides, Void Snap, Abyssal Scepter. If Westor is anywhere close to him when he goes for his initiation, that's so much magic penetration that both of them are going to be dealing to Azubu Taipei snipers. That's great itemization for green tea right now.
205 AP as well, so he's not just going to be that tanky frontliner. He's going to pack quite a punch as well on his own end. So the unstoppable force, the initial burst, it's something that they have to look out for as well for Taipei snipers. They cannot just neglect the fact that, oh, you know, the Malphite is just going to come in with the unstoppable force. But no, that's going to hurt as well. So they really have to watch out for that.
Richie just stepping on the traps, doesn't really care at all right now.
He's rock solid, man. He has got
rock solid, and Stand United is available for Prides once again. Westdoor is split pushing this bottom lane. We may actually see a fight from TPS to try and take advantage of this, but instead, Cocoon will miss coming out from wins.
Watch out for Westdoor though.
Westdoor is split pushing. He has a lot of damage with that Lich Bane. Should be able to get this tower really low. A real body slams in. Not able to get anything out of it, but that tower is at a quarter health right now. HQ could siege this with ease if they wanted to, especially with Pride split pushing the top lane.
Yeah, and they have that silver, so a couple of boomerang blades down onto the turret should be able to take it out quite quickly, but they have to be careful not to get caught up because there's still a lot of power, initiation power from Taipei snipers, so they have to play it smart. But with the amount of goal lead that they have, they should be able to force their way and bulldoze down one of those turrets.
What do you do in this situation when you're a Azubu Taipei snipers? You know the opponents are ahead of you. They have Baron buff, and they're knocking at all three of your inhibitor turrets. What do you have to do here?
You really have to capitalize on any potential mistakes and any positional error, and you have to play it perfectly because you are down by so much goal and you don't have those item advantages. And also you have to be in a position when Pride's teleporting you, make sure that all the members are down so that they can't capitalize. You can at least force them back away from your turret, and that's going to buy some time for you, and I think that's very important. And also for them, they can make use of their wave clear, like what we are seeing Oriel do, to really keep those minutes away from the turrets because...
Oh, he jumps in though, there goes God JJ, he's getting melted instantly by the assassination duel. Away in trouble now, Earth will hit the Golden Dragon, Solar Flare will not be able to stop this AHQ freight train that is destroying the base of Azubu Taipei snipers. They instantly destroyed God JJ. There was absolutely nothing he could do while he was knocked up by Green Tea. Westdoor and Naz just said, you're not getting out of this one alive. They take down 2 inhibitor turrets and 2 inhibitors for that. They're gonna knock on the Nexus now.
I think this is going to be possibly quite a game here.
All comes out from Gragas though, but Zon is only going to be able to slice and die in and out of there. Red turret does go down. HQ, not HQ, sorry. Taipei snipers are really on the last straw right now. Last Nexus turret available. Green Tea will get taken down here, I feel. No, he will stay alive for a little bit longer, and they will assassinate Awe once again. Westdoor goes into the gold man, still has his Guardian Angel available. They're just going to go for the Nexus. HQ Esports Club are going to continue their undefeated streak and pick up a game against the Azubu Taipei Snipers, one of the best teams, and second place in Winter Split.